Welcome to the Once Blind podcast. Your host, Carlos.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I know it's been a while since you've seen my mug, but this time I brought someone else with me. And now we have Gabrielle Roman! Go ahead, Gabby. Tell us about you, man. What's going on? Where are you? We're going to start simple and small. Where are you from?
Perth Amboy, New
Before
Jersey.
before Perth Amboy? Before Perth Amboy. What is your nationality?
I'm Argentinian and Puerto Rican.
All right, all right. And then you're from Perth Amboy. Being from
Yes.
Carteret, I'm not happy about that, but it's okay. All right, so where were you born? Here in the States or?
Yes, here in the U.S.
All right, all right. And you grew up in Perth Amboy, still living in Perth Amboy area?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Okay. Went to school here in Perth Amboy as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what was that like growing up in Perth Amboy? Because lots of people aren't going to know what Perth Amboy is like. Is it suburbs? Is it urban? What was life there like?
Like a mini city.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just like the city, but it's just a lot smaller, but with the same stuff, issues, problems,
Mm-hmm.
but good stuff too, I guess.
Okay. So growing up in Perth Amboy, give me one thing that you would say was the best thing about growing up there.
You had access to everything. Everything is like right at the corner. There's a bodega everywhere. There's like whatever. You didn't really have to go far to get anything that you needed.
Okay. And now we have to go the opposite. What would be the worst thing of growing up in Perth Amboy?
The same reasons. You can get anywhere, anything. You can go to the corner.
You can get good medicine. You can get bad medicine. No. Uh, all right. So now, most of the people who do follow you already know that you are a mom
Yes.
and a single mom at that. And being that we are going to cover a little bit about your fight coming up, I want to know, what is training like as a single mom?
It's really, it depends on how you look at it, I guess. But it's hard. So it's really hard, but it's easy when you remember what you're training for.
Oh, nice. Okay. Now, I know for your first fight at the bare knuckle, you had very small time to train. What people would consider train in a gym, 6 weeks, so on and so forth. You were doing the mom thing, and you did, whatever you could on the side. What's the difference with this fight coming up?
A little bit more time of preparation. So before I didn't have the camp, and I mean I didn't have a full camp this time because it wasn't as much time as a normal camp should be, but it's more time than 8 days. So,
Yeah,
more time.
that'll definitely do better. So we get to see a little bit more of that gas tank getting emptied out.
Yes, it's a lower. It's actually my weight class. So before, for the bare knuckle in Denver, it was at 140, and this one is going to be at 125. So
Nice.
it's my weight class.
Nice.
So it's definitely a lot more to my comfortability, and it's just gonna be, the idea is supposed to be easier. So
Yeah, that's the idea, but
Yeah.
how it goes. Now, where are you fighting at? Because Denver is high altitude, so not only were you not in the best shape that you could have been in, but you also had to, duke it out and then huff and puff in higher altitude, which is harder. Where are you fighting at now?
Florida. This flight's gonna be taken out in Florida.
So this is a better situation all around for you in the sense of you got a little bit more time. You're going to be in an area where it's not harder to breathe. So there will be a lot more to us being able to see what you can produce.
Yes. Yeah. I won't have to reserve so much. I won't have to be as picky not picky with my shots, because you should always be picky and technical, but I don't have to refrain from using so much energy. So
Yes. No,
yeah.
that is definitely key. Especially what is it? 5 rounds, no?
Yeah.
5 2-minute rounds, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize, like, they hear 2 minutes And it's like, it's 2 minutes, but they don't realize what it's like throwing and dodging punches for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it may be, and then have 1 minute break in between that, and then have to do it 5 times. Like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, you're fighting for your life for 2 minutes, and then you get to sit there and think like, holy shit, okay, I have to do better than those last 2 minutes, and then just that's a continuous cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Still getting tired after each round. So
So now we, of course, we're all excited to see that first fight. Now, you obviously had first fight, bare knuckle fight, is scary in itself, right? Bare knuckles, and then it's a new promotion because obviously you've had other fights, but not for this particular promotion. What are you feeling leading up to your second fight for this promotion?
I guess I don't really know how to answer that, honestly. It's not really any different. It's
Well, nervous wise, right? You felt nervous, new promotion, new everything. Are you as nervous for this fight as you were for the original one?
Yeah, there's definitely no difference in the nervousness. What gets me nervous, honestly, is not the fight itself. It's exciting to just even think about being in that ring. It's the crowd, it's the people, it's the stage, walking into the ring. But once I step into the ring, it's different. It's like, all right, cool. Like it kind of just zones out. And then after that first punch, it just becomes very real. And I don't mean like my first punch. I mean like that first punch of actually getting hit.
Yeah.
Like a sense of reality sets in, and it's like, all right, cool. Everything just disappears, and you just get into that zone.
So, knowing that you grew up in Perth Amboy, knowing who you are, because I know you personally, what is the difference between getting punched bare knuckle growing up in Perth Amboy as opposed to bare knuckle in a ring?
I get to fight against other women. So.
That's a fact. Okay, so that's one. Because usually there's a lot of hair pulling when you do fight women. No,
Yes, yeah. So it's there's none of that allowed in the ring. So it's just a lot. I guess the rules allowed it to be less of a street fight, but with the gloves off, it's just more contact. You're not, you have to just fight. You're not allowed to do all that extra dirty play stuff. It's just straight, just you rock and you get your stuff rocked.
yeah. And I think another avenue, at least from the outside view for me, it's like you have to constantly remind yourself, I'm not fighting, the chick from the corner who, doesn't like me talking to her boyfriend. This is a professional fighter going up against another professional fighter. You're not going to see sideways fist and push fist and so on. You're going to see a professional throwing a punch at you.
Correct. And most of the time, these professionals, they're very well experienced. Like my next opponent, I think I'm not too certain about her record, but I know she's got like about 38 kickboxing fights. She's like a champion or Muay Thai. It's one. But these women aren't anything to mess around with. They're very experienced, they're well seasoned, and it's not street. They're seasoned in professional fighting. So anybody who knows, there's a difference, regardless if you come from the street. Street allows you the stamina, the body to be able to take it if you have been fighting streets. But once you get in there in the ring and you're fighting a professional, it's a lot better.
Well, and I think there's a lot of thinking that goes into professional fighting rather than fighting per se to survive that moment. I know for me, I love jujitsu. I love all the MMA stuff when you mix in the wrestling, the so on and so forth. But that just looks exhausting to me if someone's going to be grabbing me the whole time. I prefer to be throwing punches and let's just stay there. Like keep your feet to the ground. Let's just keep moving.
Yeah,
That's
it's
just me.
a lot more real. You got to be built for it. If you don't like that type of contact and you don't enjoy it in somewhat, you're not gonna last long in this at all.
Yeah. I've done jujitsu. I like jujitsu in the practical of just jujitsu, but I'm thinking like if I'm in a ring, I really don't want to be holding on to someone, them holding on to me, trying to get up and all that. It's just, when you go to jujitsu class, you kind of lay on your back and it's like, all right, you're on top, I'm on bottom. and then we switch, and that's it. There's no get up, get down, get up, get down. And as a big guy, the get up and get down, that's just too much.
Yeah, you're also just to you're also a man, so it's a little different for a woman. Jiu-jitsu is more beneficial for women in self-defense. You know,
Okay.
it's we're not men, we're not as strong as you guys, so it's definitely more practical for us in speaking defense wise. But
Hmm.
um yeah, no, for sure, fist and everything else is definitely a lot better.
Now, we definitely saw your mixed martial arts experience in the last fight, right? There was a couple, I think twice you wanted to spin fist somebody, and I think the first time you got it real good in there, and then it was like, no,
Yeah,
no, no. So,
I swear I thought that was legal. So I remember watching it's a bare knuckle fighter called, he's actually the champ. He just finished coming off of a win. Is Lewis.
mhm.
He's a freaking beast, and I remember years ago that he did that same move. It was like a spinning. I could swear it was him, but he did it, and I was like, oh my god, that was freaking epic. And I was
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that because I've always loved the spinning back fist. And then they stopped me, and they were like, that's not okay. And I literally was prepping for that. I was relying on that, and I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't allowed. So.
I gotta say, she blocked it very well with her face. I think if you would have hit her with one or two more of those, that fight wouldn't have made it past the first round.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I
For
think
sure.
I don't know, but she had mixed martial arts in her background as well. She should have seen that one coming.
No, but I mean, if it's illegal, then you're not really expecting someone to do something that's not allowed. So I mean, I can see it, but I get you're right. The rules of the game is to always be prepared. So.
Well, absolutely. Look what happened with Mayweather and Ortiz. They went for a hug, and Mayweather snuck them and won the fight.
Yep,
So
for sure.
I think
Yep.
there's a reason that rule's there.
Yep.
All right. So now, what are we expecting differently this fight, besides no spinning back fist, uh, as to the old one or the previous one, I should say?
So just more combinations, more fists being thrown. I'm not really. I thankfully because of the team, I'm definitely well better prepared, and they've studied her, and they're making me drill certain things and things that are clearly going to help in the fight. So I don't know. I like to just my fighting is you have to be prepared like that. The rules of the game, you have to be prepared for anything. I don't really like studying too much of my competitors because I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me with fighting. Like if you're walking down the street, you're not gonna stop someone and be like, "Hold on, let me study your film. Do you have any past fights? Can I watch to see before you try to whoop my ass?" So like it doesn't make sense to me. It just defeats the whole purpose of why we're in this. And but I get it. You have to study, and my thing is just to go off of what she allows me, what she gives me.
Yeah.
So I try my hardest to do what I can, and but at the end of the day, it's what openings, what she gives me, what's easy, what I see is I can get off with, what works, what doesn't work, what maneuvers, what adjustments I have to make. It just depends on how it goes.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of fighters, some that I know personally, and some that I've even heard their backstory, where they refuse to watch video on whoever it is that they're going to fight next, only for the reason of everyone when you're out there, like you can go in with a game plan, but game plans change. So if this is a person who's, let's say, left hand heavy, you're preparing for a left hand heavy person. Now all of a sudden, they switch that whole game plan. And unless you have a good team behind you, you went in with a game plan. There should be, plan B, C, and D.
Mhm.
If they only prepared for that left hand, what are you going to do? Now everything switches. So I think it's a very smart thing to not necessarily over prepare with someone's video. That's your team's job. They're supposed to look into that, see what happens, and then be able to train you into, okay, we're going to start this way. Why? Because this is how we're going to start. There's no reason why, not even give you her information in the sense of she's left hand heavy. Because again, all those things come into play. And
Yep.
let's face it, even though this is only boxing, there's so many different styles of boxing as well. Being that she also comes from, I think you said, more of a Muay Thai boxing style. You're expecting certain things from a Muay Thai fighter, but what if she's been practicing straight up boxing now, and now she comes into the ring, not Muay Thai, but more of a traditional boxer? So no,
Exactly.
I think it's a great thing that do it your way, because obviously it worked for you last time.
Yes, sir.
Which,
Absolutely. I'm definitely taking the advice that my team is giving me, and I'm taking it very seriously. They're professionals and they're helping me, and it's my job to just let them lead. But I'm also going to make sure that I stay true to myself and true to the abilities God has blessed me with, which is definitely that. So I'm just going to stick with it and run with it.
yeah, I mean, that's all we can do in life. So whatever we're good at, even if it's punching people in the face. I mean, it's
Getting punched, yeah.
it's still a thing to do. So now,
Yeah.
here's you said people see who you are through fighting. Okay, but who are you outside of fighting? Obviously, we already mentioned you are a mom. Um, you're doing this all on your own. Besides the mom part, besides the fighting part, what else would you like? Because you do have fans, for your fans to know about Gabrielle.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. How do you let your fans know who you are? Mm, by speaking.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm like asking, how do you let them know who you are by speaking?
Well, the sense of it is, you're right. Actions do speak louder than words. One of the things I see from you is you're obviously humorous, because we see all the videos. You put one on about your cat. I think, was it earlier today? I saw it.
Rob. Yeah, that's my boy.
Yeah. So we saw, the whole cat thing, and you guys have that little feud going on. When you want love, he doesn't want it, and back and forth. So obviously you have that humor about you. Other things that are, we only see the fighting and we only know about the mom. Like, what does Gabrielle like to do besides punching people in the face?
Hmm. I don't know, honestly. I think I've just been focusing so much on trying to focus on my priorities, focus on the fighting. It goes outside of the ring, it's fighting through like just everything. So I guess honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just it's that's who I am. I'm a fighter. I fight for my kids every day for in every way possible. Like it's just what I do. I don't know. I don't know.
No, I believe you answered it there. You are constantly in fight mode. You're fighting as a mom to protect your children, to make sure they get the best life. Uh, we are. I know personally all the things that you go through on a daily basis to raise two boys. Being a woman, to raise two boys, and the just the ganas that it takes to continue to do this on a daily basis. You know,
Yeah.
then from there to find the time to, well, you're actually fighting for the time to be able to provide, fighting for the time to be able to go out there and do your thing in the ring. Training, all that training that goes into it. Training isn't 1 or 2 minutes and then, all right, we're done. It's
Mhm.
not running around the block. There's so many things that go into it. So I think you saying Gabrielle is an all around fighter, that's absolutely true, because everything in your life, you take it head on. And this is what
Yeah.
a fight is. I think you said it perfectly.
Thank you.
So we'll
Son
change this a little bit, in the sense of, we'll get to know more of, okay, so don't take too long in answering this, but we're going to be able to see what type of fights you like, how fighters, so on and so forth. And I guess this will tell us a little bit more about who you are. So
Mm.
don't think too long on this, right?
Okay.
Just the person's name that comes to mind, say it. And then if I feel like that needs an explanation, I'll ask for it. But if
Okay.
not, we're going to move on. Favorite,
Okay.
favorite female fighter?
Oh, I don't have a female fighter favorite.
All right, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Your favorite male boxer?
Lomachenko.
Okay, okay. That's a good fighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty obvious. All
Yeah.
right. All right, your favorite MMA fighter?
um, George St. Pierre.
Okay.
Hmm.
St. Pierre. All right.
Yeah.
So, let's see. In still mixed martial arts, but a person who is prolific in jujitsu,
Mm.
out of male, female, whoever fighter, who do you think is one of the best jujitsu fighters in your opinion?
And like the UFC or just all around?
It could be UFC. It could be all around. But in the mixed martial arts world, obviously, I'm not going to know any jujitsu tournaments because that's not what I follow. So, still in a ring, but a jujitsu person, I guess you could say, someone who uses jujitsu mostly.
Hmm. Hmm. I think Oliveira would definitely have to be that one
Okay, good choice.
for sure. Yeah.
All right, on his feet in mixed martial arts, who would you say is the best stand-up?
Oof. Ferguson.
Oh, Ferguson.
Hmm.
I would have went with Max Holloway, but it's okay. You can have
Yeah,
Ferguson.
Max is definitely there too, but Ferguson, I don't know. There's something about him, yo. I
Did
don't.
Did you not see the fight where he was punching the guy in the face? Then he started dodging all his punches while looking at the announcers, saying, "I'm the best boxer."
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
you're right. Right.
I,
I remember when he was instructing.
yes, okay,
Gotta
that's
do
enough. Yeah, with
it.
Ortega, he was telling Ortega, he's like, "Look, this is how you block me from punching you in the face." Yeah. I mean, listen, Ferguson's good.
Right.
I like Ferguson, but if you gotta, Max Holloway is a
Nah, you're
beast.
right. You're
You know.
absolutely right.
I,
I'm just a fan of Ferguson, but Max is definitely the best boxer for sure.
okay. I'm glad you didn't say Connor, because then I'd have to be like,
Hell,
no, 20 years ago, maybe. This Connor today, I don't think he can hold his hands up. But,
nah, man.
all right, so jiu-jitsu. All right, wrestler.
Oof. I'm gonna say Usman.
Really? Usman,
Yeah,
okay. I
he's
like,
got a lot of good takedowns. Even though, I mean, like you're talking about active, right? Not retired.
well, let's go all around. Who would you say all around?
Obviously, Habib. Like
Habibi. Yeah,
he
Habibi's good.
got hands down. Like that man won everything. Like
Yeah, he's a beast. I can't stand watching his fights, but I can't hate on how good he is at what he does. And his protege is Islam
oh
Machiavelli,
God,
whatever his last name is,
yeah, no,
Machiavelli. He's good too in wrestling. I mean, he couldn't keep my boy. God, now I can't remember his name, and I said my boy, but
Volk.
yeah, he couldn't keep him down. And I
Yeah,
think Volk won that, but
yeah, yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
we'll let it be. But no, I think best wrestler that I've seen all around will definitely be Khabib. I mean, he'd grab onto people and he wouldn't let him go.
Yeah, no, they were just there.
Yeah. And Usman, out of everybody out, I really don't want to give him this because he'll probably get mad, but I think Kobe Covington is a way better wrestler.
Oh, really? You know what? Now
Yeah.
people sleep on Kobe, and he is a freaking monster. He
Well,
is. He's definitely a monster.
they probably only known him for like the last fights where ever since he came onto this character, that's the
Mm.
only time people know him. But if anyone knows Kobe from the beginning, he would wrestle people down kind of like Khabib does, and then he would beat you senseless because he would never lose his gas. He would always just keep going, keep going, keep going. If you got up, he'd take you back down, which is interesting because the only person to ever take Usman down was Kobe Covington, but
Yeah.
they stripped Kobe Covington from that because it wasn't long enough for they wanted to pad his stats. But Usman is a good wrestler. I'm not saying he's not. I just got to give it to the guy who's been doing it longer.
Honestly, yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about Kobe, but for sure,
How do people
absolutely.
forget about Kobe? He talks so much crap.
I know. It's the persona. It's just
Yeah,
I'm not.
persona
No.
is annoying, but
It's
but
not.
see, that's the thing. Like before, with like Connor, people would be like, "Oh, he talks so much crap, this and that." Yeah, I don't like the persona, but the guy can throw a punch. I mean, he's not the same guy. He hasn't been the same guy since he went into boxing. I think once he made his like 300 mil, he was like, all right, I'm done fighting. But when he
Yeah.
was hungry, you couldn't sleep on. I mean, look what he did to Jose Aldo. And that's
Yeah.
sad. We got to go back like 10 years to say, look at what's the last thing Connor did. It was 10 years ago. He threw that one punch. All
Mhm.
right. Most heart you've seen in a fighter.
Heart.
Yeah.
Damn. Volk for now, I guess. Right? That man.
Nah, he's a
Like
beast. He is a
Like,
beast.
doesn't take no. Like,
Yeah, no,
it's
he's a
just
beast.
it's just like, you got me in a chokehold. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, that Ortega fight was one of the things where he was literally choking, okay, and he would not tap out. Like
That
so many
yeah.
people will
And
say that in the post fights. They'll be like, "Hey, I will never tap." No, that man did not tap.
seriously. And then yeah, it's just there's like he was like, put me to sleep or I'm gonna get out. So he did. That was
No,
awesome.
no, it was a great fight. All right, let's see. We did heart, which goes with courage. All right, pick one of your favorite old timers. I guess you could say someone who's already retired.
Okay. Hmm. Okay, this is gonna be weird, but oh my god, I can't even say his name. Frank Moore? Um
Mir.
Mir. There
Yeah,
you go. Sorry.
you're talking about the heavyweight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from
yeah,
back in
yeah.
the day.
Yeah,
The way
he
he did
was
like,
he was legit.
yo, he's I don't know, like he was I think it was because he was one of my first fights that I saw, and then he was just like he was a monster. So I was like, oh shit, this is cool. So it was really cool. So he's definitely one of my old him and Iceman.
Okay,
Um
Chuck Liddell.
yeah, Chuck too. And because of that rivalry that he had with Tito Ortiz, and I just wanted him so bad to beat his ass because he was such a big crap talker. So
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
that one too. Um
All right.
that's really good.
See,
Yeah.
I think of one, he's a Jersey guy. Two, I met him in Old Bridge, and people were like, he's a champion, because I had no clue. I didn't watch UFC. I only watched boxing. And it was, Frankie Edgar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met
Yeah.
him at Old Bridge. Nice guy. I was kind of surprised at the stature because I'm taller than him. And I was like, this guy's a champion? Like, like, okay, like, what is this mixed martial arts thing that he's going for? And then people were telling me, all right, UFC. And it's like, all right, cool. I've seen some UFC stuff, but I've never focused on it like I do now. And yeah, like I watched him fight and he kept getting knocked down. I think it was Bobby Lawler. No, not Lawler. Who did he fight? Maynard. And he got hit, fell back, and he did this roll, got himself up, got hit, fell again. I was
Oh,
like, oh man, this dude got hard.
yo, I remember that. Oh my god, yes.
That was the first fight that I paid attention to. Like, you skim through channels sometimes and you see a fight and you'll watch it. Like, I've seen hundreds of boxers fights, don't know their names or anything. But this was one fight that, I went to purposely watch because I met the guy, so on and so forth. And then I see this and I'm like, holy moly. The gloves
Yeah.
are smaller. They're kicking themselves in the face without anything. This guy's getting rocked, gets back up, takes him down. I was like, all right, I'm a fan. I'm officially a fan. So I got to go back to, gangster Frankie Edgar. Like
Yeah.
that was when he was real gangster.
For
And then
sure. And
BJ
we're
Penn.
really good. Like he trains like a freaking, even his off seasons, he was like just still in the gym training. He's
Well, you already know. I know one of his associates who's a trainer, and shout out to Mark Henry. But I've seen them two work together before, and you know, yeah, that dude just and he's like doing boxing 1 second, and then he runs across and starts wrestling, and then he's
yeah,
doing jujitsu, and it's like that little guy don't get tired.
yeah,
I
he's
got
more,
tired looking at him.
and they have very good chemistry. I think that's one of the reasons why it works. And he's just such a monster is because they're a really good team. They flow very good. They're just, if you see them together personally, it's just like, all right, like it makes sense.
Yeah, they're family for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so favorite boxer of all time?
Oof. I don't know. I gotta think about that.
Because I know you picked you're a recent guy, but when you
Lomachenko, because of like he's just technical. He's my favorite technical boxer.
mhm,
He's a freaking monster. But if we're talking
all
if we're
time,
talking art, then I'm
hmm
gonna have to go with Tyson Fury.
okay,
Because that man overcame a lot of personal stuff, and not only did he overcome it, he overcame it, and then was like a champion, and he just throws Jesus in everybody's face. So all day, Tyson Fury.
I can respect that. I saw I don't know if you saw the interview, but it was him and Wilder. I think it was his second fight or something. And Wilder was talking about all the spirits and this and that, and Tyson was just like, "Yeah, you lost already. You know,
Yeah.
I got Jesus in my corner, and you're talking about spirits and this and that. Yeah, you already lost, guy. I got you. Jesus is in my corner." I was like, "Yeah, buddy."
For a fact, hands down, yes.
I'm glad he won though, because then that would have been hard to explain.
Yes.
It's like, Jesus, where were you, man?
But God was like, "No, I gotta make you win, bro. Stop using my name."
See, it's hard to take the wheel when you're throwing fists, man. Like, I don't know what to do. So, I really did enjoy watching him win. But that fight, did you see the first fight where it's the last round? He gets knocked out. Like, he's out, like, night. Mm-hmm. And the ref gets to 8, and he gets up like he just woke up from a nap.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was like, and then let me tell you, I've seen some of his fights before, and I was never really like, all right, impressed. But that fight, I was like, come on, who is this guy?
Yeah. That's the heart. That's exactly what I was saying. It's the heart.
Yeah, no, he's a beast.
You can't train that.
But see, I'm always gonna be the guy to say Mike Tyson. See, it's because I'm old. Because when people say basketball, I say Jordan. You know, people say hockey, I say Gretzky. You know, I go with the people in my era. So Mike Tyson, for me, owes me a lot of pay-per-view money. But he's still, to me, one of the greatest boxers. And I think if he never had Don King anywhere near him, he would probably still be making millions just on fighting.
For sure.
I wasn't impressed with Muhammad Ali. But I'll give Muhammad Ali credit. He won his belt back 3 times.
Yep.
George Foreman. Have you ever seen ESPN Classic and watched George Foreman punch people?
No, I haven't.
It's abuse. You should.
Yeah,
you should see that. Listen, old George Foreman coming back and winning the belt, that's amazing. But George Foreman, young George Foreman, would scare people just by stepping into the ring because they knew how hard he hit. He hit so hard. Then he left in his prime to go be a minister.
Yes.
And now the only thing I have in my head is like he came back to boxing. So did those people in his congregation make him want to punch someone in the face so bad that he was like, I got to put gloves back on because I'm going to kill somebody? Because ministry is hard. Like, I don't want anyone to think that ministry is this cakewalk. Like, if you're doing ministry right, okay, it makes you want to punch people in the face. So I wonder if that's how bad it was for him, that he was like, you know what? Nope, I'm going back to boxing.
Especially having the fame and everything, and you trying to be for God. It's just...
Nah. He was a big boy, though. And then he came back, and he was old, and he was, like, fat, and I was like... If he can do it, I'm gonna stay home. No, all right. So we know, before we even let you go, we know you're coming into this fight. Your mind's going on. What day is it?
It's July 14th. It's on a next Thursday, actually. Yeah.
Okay. What time should people be tuning in?
Card starts at 6.
Okay.
I'm just not sure exactly when my fight is exactly, but I know 6 o'clock is definitely the time to tune in. Okay.
Yeah. No, listen, I only watched BKFC one time, and it was because you were on it. It was the only time I was going to watch it. And I watched the whole episode or whatever, the whole event from beginning to end, even though I knew you weren't going to be on till later. Yeah. You know, I wanted to prepare myself to see what I was going to see. And I got to tell you, I was like, I don't want to see Gabby get punched in the face like that one girl did. Like, I was like, oh, but hey, we're here now. It's a little late. We got to watch. So we did watch the whole thing. So I think everyone can tune in at 6, be able to watch the event. And then when you kick off, you kick off. I mean,
Yeah, there's a lot of people scared for me that day.
Well, I mean, you never want to see someone get punched in the face by a professional. Like if you were in a street fight, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. The girl's probably gonna pull her hair, poke her in the eye, whatever. But this is a professional. Like you said, though, this one young lady is Muay Thai. Like I'm
Yeah.
glad it's not Muay Thai because then it's not just punches. You got to take elbows and knees to the face.
Hmm.
And I
Yep.
know lots of people haven't been elbowed in the face. Elbows hurt. Okay, I know they look like they're little taps, but they hurt and they cut so much easier. So I'm glad you're not getting elbowed in the face. I'm glad there's no knees, which is another thing. Like in MMA, you can't punch someone right bare knuckle, obviously, because they got those little gloves. But you can
Mhm.
elbow someone across the face. Like
Yeah.
that to me makes no sense. Like, why aren't you covering the elbow? That hurts more.
Yeah. It's more dangerous, isn't it? Too. It's like it's a lot.
Yeah,
You can break this a lot faster than you can your elbow. So just
it's pointy. It hits hard. Some people they know how to use it. Look at John Jones and his elbows. How many fights did he stop with just elbowing people in the face?
yeah.
And if you're on the ground getting elbowed, now you got to deal with the pressure from the back of your head from the floor. Elbows. I'm glad you're not getting elbowed.
People getting knocked out with knees, flying knees.
Hmm. Well, look at the Usman fight. Since you brought up Usman, it just reminded me how he was whipping, whipping Edwards, whipping him. I think Edwards is his name. We'll say yes, Edwards.
Leon
Whipping
Edwards.
him that old fight. And then last second, he timed a very well timed kick and he sent him to outer space.
Yeah.
Usman admitted himself he didn't come to till he was at the hospital. So imagine that. So at least it is knuckles. All right. You know what what song you're gonna walk into?
Yes.
All right. What's the song? Can we get it? Can we know, or is it gonna be a surprise?
No, it's not a surprise.
All right.
It's the score. It's the name of the song is Stronger.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look that up because I have no clue what that is.
Yeah.
You want to sing it for us? No,
I'm sorry?
I'm messing with you.
I know,
I
I
said you
do it-
wanted to sing it. Yeah, I was like, no. We'll
Singing it. No, I love it because it's oh man, I just love it. It's inspirational, and I feel like the part where he says, "And I'm alive," or I just felt like that was just it means like my rebirth with Jesus. It's like I was born again, so I'm stronger now. So that's definitely the song that I'm walking out to.
Nice. So now, talking about rebirth, right? Talking about born again, Jesus Christ. We talked about, Gypsy King and how we liked the fact that he mentioned Jesus Christ in everything he was doing. Who is Jesus Christ to Gabrielle Roman?
He is my everything. He is the reason why that I breathe right now. He is the reason why I have my kids, why we have this roof over our head, why we have food in our stomachs, why we have things that we don't need. And well, he's just everything. As he should be. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So now, you obviously know all types of Christians. You have all shades, right? So you have the really, 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 really annoying so-called religious, right? That they pick all the old school laws that have nothing to do with Jesus Christ, and they add them all into the Bible. We call those the Galatian Pharisees. And then we have the ones that say everything's allowed and all of that stuff. And they'll both will look at a person like you who loves Jesus, loves to fight, right? And they'll try to make it as if they shouldn't belong. Why do you say they belong? Or why do you feel, or how is it that you can explain a sport of fighting and a love for Christ?
I mean, that is love. It's fighting. You can't have love without fighting. And meaning you have to fight for what you love. And if you love something, you fight for it. So you can't have one without the other. It's just how you fight. But in the terms of speaking physically, it's just because of everything that I've been through personally. Something that comes naturally to me. and it's something that I'm really good at. And I feel that it's my blessing from God
Hmm.
that allows me to put food on my table for my kids, but also gives me that peace.
Yeah.
So it's really it. So
No, absolutely. I always found it interesting, right? Why those types of Christians, again, we went to far left, far right spectrums, because they're
Mhm,
usually the ones that are so judgmental about fighters
mhm,
and people who love Christ. Like, oh, you can't have, no, because here's the thing, right? Football is a very violent sport. There, if you do statistics, there are more people who leave football with mental injuries, okay, especially later on in life, right? Because they don't get it right there and then, they get it later, most of
mhm.
them. So the most mental illnesses that come from head damage or concussions and so on and so forth is football. Yet they don't ever judge them by their Christianity, yet that's violent. You know, you have hockey, it's violent. No one ever judges their Christianity. But when it comes to the sport of whether it's boxing, mixed martial arts, jujitsu, so on and so forth, like certain ones are accepted, certain aren't. So I've always liked the, like, I know my answer for it, and it's like, mind your business. But as a fighter, I've always been interested in how they saw it in their view, and I really like how you put it out. It's who you are. It's a part of who God made you to be.
Mhm.
And tell you the truth, if it's what brings you peace, they just don't understand the beauty of fighting. You know, and we say fighting, but the sport of fighting.
Yes.
Um,
When you've had to fight for your whole life, like literally fight for
yeah,
your life, you're used to it.
yeah.
And instead of making it something bad, I'm using it for good.
Well, I mean, no one can deny the fact that if you're feeding your children,
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
so many other ways and worse ways to so-called feed your children,
Yes.
okay? And yet you're choosing to do it by putting yourself on the line
Hmm.
and doing it in a sport rather than in illegal, let's call them mishaps.
Hmm.
So I, you know, don't want to see you get punched in the face, but if I had to pick from all the so-called bad things, yeah, punched in the face isn't that bad. Plus,
Yeah.
plus they're paying you for it, so.
Yeah, exactly. And
Uh,
the other person is there to do the same thing that I am. They put
yeah,
themselves there just like I did.
yeah.
I'm not harming anybody. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not abusing anyone. We're both in there. We're both in there for maybe different reasons, same reasons, but we both stepped in there for the same reasons to fight.
And I think, well, let me ask this question: when you were getting punched in the face in high school for free, did you ever think like, man, I'd love to get punched in my face for money? Like, that's not the idea. I don't think anyone ever says that.
No. 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 No.
It's
No.
like,
I mean, no, I wasn't even thinking about that.
yeah, I quite enjoyed getting that punch right on the nose. Huh? I
And I
wonder if he'd
wish
give me
that
$50 to give me more. No.
no, I don't wish. Then I wouldn't have my kids. But I mean, if I would have started earlier, then oof.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of things we could always go back and say, hey, if I started that earlier, we really don't know. I mean, for all you
Yes.
listen, I remember a time in my life where I got hit with a garage door, didn't do anything to me, right? And people were like, how are you not concussed? How are you not on the floor? And the thought process of, oh, well, if that heavy wooden garage door can hit me and not knock me out, maybe I should get back in the ring. And to tell you the truth, I know me now. I don't want to get punched in the face. I want to watch people get punched in the face. I don't want to be the guy getting hit. And all the work that goes into being in shape. And so I'm lazy. It's not my thing. You know,
Yeah.
I work my 9 to 5. I leave the fighting to the professionals.
Yeah. And there's also I wanna show by example that this fighting can be for women personally, it can be done differently. It can be done with respect
Hmm.
and without feeling like you have to submit yourself into ways that the world wants you to submit it to make money.
Yeah,
So
awesome. And I respect that about you. I've never seen you sell out in any fashion or sell yourself out for the sake of an extra fan or for the sake of an extra, sponsorship or whatever the case may be. You've always been true to who you are. And
I lost sponsors because of that, but so what?
but I'd rather lose sponsors, and again, I can respect the person who loses sponsors for being who they want to be, and who they feel as a believer in Christ, who God has made them to be, than the person who's willing to sell themselves out for $1. It's like fighters and OnlyFans. Like, nah, why don't you be either you're a fighter or you sell yourself? Like, pick one, okay? Because both don't make sense to me. Yep. So I've always respected the fact that, again, you walked your road, and pretty sure, because it's the world we live in, as a female fighter, the opportunities of selling yourself short for the sake of an extra $1, it's the easier way to go. I mean, look at how many fighters are so-called famous and they've won like 2 fights.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, or they make a lot of money just because they're really pretty and they show their body off.
Oh, but they can't fight. So what's the point of being in a fighting sport?
Yeah.
Might as well start a web page and have people pay you to look at you, like, but then they look down on that. It's like, but that's exactly what you're doing. You're just doing it for a different fan base.
Yeah.
So I respect that. Anyways, we'll talk about female.
We're not going to, as far as fame and money goes, obviously being sons and daughters of Jesus, I'm not planning on getting far in this. I do this because I love it. And I want to try to help as much people as possible. As far as like the women and these young girls, this is like, it's just, there's other ways, So, yeah, no, that's a good topic for another day. For sure.
Miss Gabrielle, we are running towards the end of this. So I want to ask the question of, what type of fighter do you want to be remembered as? When it's all said and done, you're going to hang it up.
Mm-hmm. I will be remembered as a woman fighter. Okay. So, meaning what a woman is, to the best of my ability, is supposed to be, respectful, humble, but the mother in me is very protective but loving. What women are supposed to be is embracing of one another, but just encouraging and also loving, as far as like, that you can do this and you don't need to do that. And just a woman, because now, especially with the way the times are now, they're just trying to take away just what a woman even is, and just take away the value of women. So I guess I just want to be remembered as that is a woman fighter. She is a woman fighter. I am not a man. I am never going to be a man, but I'm also not one of these females who had given. I just want to be a woman.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, I'm not a woman, so. No, but it's a pleasure having you on the show. I definitely want to probably do one again after this fight, maybe before your next one. We'll see what time has. Again, it was a pleasure. Everybody, Gabrielle Roman. You get all the love. All right.
Guys.
Holler.
Thank you for dropping by. Please remember to subscribe, to share, like, and to catch the next one.